State Department is now pausing visas for Afghan nationals, you may have heard, and it's halting all asylum decisions at this point. And this follows the president saying that lax immigration policies are a top national security threat after the fatal shooting. NewsNation's Jackie Koppell joins us now on set to talk about what Trump officials are saying about these changes. Help us understand what's going on here.
Sure. So Trump officials believe that these changes are necessary to improve the vetting process because this shooter, the suspect, obviously something went wrong. Just as was mentioned, he was granted asylum earlier this year. So the Trump administration expressing a desire to relook at their policies. Also, the United States Citizen and Immigration Services came out saying the same thing. This all does stem from Operation Allies Welcome, which is where the Biden program, or under the Biden administration, they actually allowed tens of thousands of Afghans to come in. The vetting process for that was not as strong as it is for something called special immigrant visas. Now, there are still tens of thousands of Afghans waiting to be processed. And one of the things you and I were discussing earlier is why there's been such a holdup. Well, interestingly enough, when the pullout was happening, the United States told a lot of these Afghans, burn the documents, this is according to several sources, burn the documents, get rid of any connection so the Taliban can't come after you. But in order for these people to actually be approved for visas, they have to show that said documentation. So it's quite a complicated process, and it seems like the Trump administration is looking to figure out, plug any holes that may exist.
I mean, complicated. It sounds impossible in many cases if all that documentation has been burned, right?
And that's been the issue, and that's why there are organizations that work on this. One of the folks I spoke to is Sean Van Diver, is the head of Afghan EVAC. He works in helping these Afghans who served with the U.S. military, I should say, beside them. They were not a part of the U.S. military. And we actually have a soundbite from him. He was talking about the national security issues if we don't fulfill on our promise to the Afghan allies. Apparently, what he said was, he basically said, if we made a promise, and in the future, if we go to war with another country and we need to speak to locals in those countries, whatever they may be, and they can't trust us, they could turn to our enemy and help the enemy, or at the very least just stay home and not help us, and that's actually quite dangerous.
This is also interesting. Thank you for breaking that down. I also wanted to ask you about the talk about cutting off federal benefits to people who are in the country illegally. That's going on as well.
Yes. Treasury Secretary Bessent issued a statement saying they were going to make sure that no benefits were going to undocumented immigrants. Now, something interesting that the Tax Policy Center pointed out is that oftentimes these undocumented immigrants actually can't access any of these, in part because they don't have Social Security numbers.
Right.
And in some cases, they are paying into the system more than they are actually getting out. But the perhaps more punitive issue is what's called remittances or money transfers. And he had a follow-up tweet on that, talking about sort of closing the loop. These remittances are often the reason why many people come to the U.S. About $40 billion or more, our researchers tells me, are sent from the United States to Mexico, just Mexico alone, because people are sending money to their friends and families back home. So if you shut down that system, that will change the calculation for a lot of people.
Wow, incredible. Thank you so much for breaking that down, Jackie. We will talk again next hour.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.